Hi Scorpio, welcome to your August 2016 love reading. Rena, the card shuffler here. Let's see what we got. Oh, nice start. Trying to remember because I have this new system. Pardon me, I'm just shuffling while I try to remember like what positions each ones are supposed to be in. Sometimes I like to kind of tweak my spreads, and then I kind of forget what I'm wanting to do. Oh yeah, now I remember. So again, I might have to draw this back because I don't know if it's going to come into frame, and I really can't do that. Okay, I'll hold it up anyhow, even if you can't see it. Okay. So, I mean, this is the overall theme, the Ace of Cups. This is all about the beginnings of love. So for some of you, that is going to be the case, that you have, you know, started dating somebody, you've met somebody. There's definitely an emotional connection there because it is cups. Now, it could relate to a water sign, even though you're a water sign, perhaps it's another water sign, so that could be a Cancer individual or a fellow Scorpio or a Pisces. And the recent past has the High Priestess. So, with the High Priestess in the recent past, it suggests to me that some of you may have been coming off of a relationship where somebody was deceptive, because when the High Priestess comes up in a reading, it can indicate that the person doesn't know everything that was going on. And so they become aware of it at some point, you know. Deception is uncovered. And sometimes it also means that the person has kind of gone into a spiritual mentality where they either had an awakening, and sometimes traumatic events like betrayal can lead people to seek some sort of comfort in religion or spirituality to kind of make sense of it all. And that can help to increase your intuition, but also just your general being on the spiritual path, in other words. And so for some of you, you may have done that, and that led you to find somebody who may be more of a soulmate type of relationship, because the Ace of Cups is where there is this real potential for something solid in the way of emotional connection. The High Priestess, you know, can just tell you that, of course this is in the past position, so it may have been that you realized that you were looking for something more. So maybe in the past you were involved with a relationship and it wasn't really the highest caliber because you were not connected for the right reasons. And this is the kind of relationship that is heartfelt, this Ace of Cups relationship. The higher perspective is the Four of Pentacles. So this can have different meanings. It can indicate that maybe in the past relationship you were with somebody. Now maybe this person was an earth sign. I'm thinking that it could be a Capricorn specifically if it was an earth sign, and I'll get to that in a moment why I think that. But it can be also a Virgo or a Taurus individual. Sometimes Scorpio ends up with a Taurus because they oppose one another on the chart. So they're kind of like two peas in a pod in a way. And they tend, you know, the polar sign to all of us tends to be this lifelong attraction. And it can bear itself out in like a pattern of relationships, maybe not even romantic. Maybe you have, you know, platonic friends who tend to be Taurus, and maybe not necessarily Sun in Taurus, but maybe, you know, the rising sign or what have you, and you just see that you're always, you know, gravitating towards Taurus. So whatever the case, the Four of Pentacles can indicate somebody who is very conscious of money. It can be somebody who is an astute money manager and possibly even works in the financial area of life. But this person, if you look closely, to me it always looks like Bob Dylan. I don't know why I think so. You know, like circa 1965. He's really holding on for dear life. So this is something that it could be like you were with somebody who is very materialistic or just conscious of money, grasping. And yeah, maybe it was greedy or stingy. That could be the case too. And not that you were looking to be showered with gifts or anything like that, but that may have intuitively led you to believe that if the person was stingy with material things, that they would be stingy emotionally. And you kind of connected the two, and that made you shy away from that relationship. Whatever the case, it could just be, you know, an overemphasis on the material side of life that didn't kind of sit well with you. And so now you're with somebody who it's more of an emotional fulfillment. What crosses you is the Devil card. And this is kind of where I was going with the Capricorn, because this rules Capricorn, is associated with Capricorn. So the Devil card can relate to any compulsions that we have, addictions that keep us in bondage. So this could literally be that person still kind of hovering around in your life, and you're not quite, you know, they're still up in your Kool-Aid, and you know, you don't know like how to, not to get rid of them, but maybe you're still connected physically, but you know, emotionally you're just totally gone from that relationship, and you can't quite shake this person for some reason. There's a compulsive tendency though with this card, so it could be that there's still that physical attraction, and so you go back to this person periodically, but it leaves you with less of yourself each time. However, you don't quite know how to get out of it, because, you know, as a fixed sign, you tend to get into these ruts. You tend to kind of repeat things. It's just kind of like that reptilian brain that just keeps with the old habits and you know, can't let go. So that's something to definitely look at. Now, it could just be the sign of the person. So as I say, it could be a Capricorn individual that is in that picture, but I don't think it's a positive influence because it's crossing you. So if it is the person, it's probably the person that you're dealing with. And you may be feeling like, how do I get, extricated from this relationship? Maybe this is you falling in love, but you haven't actually started the relationship officially because you have this unfinished business for whatever reason. And the advice, though, which, we can see that it really corresponds, is the Eight of Cups. So it is about walking away from an unfulfilling and emotionally unfulfilling situation. And again, I would say with this Devil card that it might be some sort of compulsion sexually, but not any kind of love between the two of you. And the Eight of Cups is like you are walking away from, or you're being advised to walk away from something that is no longer serving you. And it's not about escaping. I always say about the Eight of Cups that, because one of the other interpretations of the Eight of Cups is that it's kind of like you could be going on a spiritual pilgrimage. And you look at that High Priestess card, and definitely there's like this spiritual energy swirling around you. So that could be something that you are doing literally, or maybe you've just gotten into more of a spiritual frame of mind recently. But when people are, at the very least, it should be that you're not running away from something and have no idea where you're going. In other words, when we just react and we have no action, conscious action, then it tends to lead to those cycles where, like the vicious cycle of just, leaving a bad relationship, jumping into something new without even, really assessing it, and then wash, rinse, repeat. Nothing learned, just constant doing the same thing, And this Eight of Cups is about you committing to something better than what you have. But there's another cups, just like the overall message, where you're trying to connect emotionally. It's not enough, This isn't enough. And that's what the message from the universe said. It's not enough to have the material goods. There has to be that soul connection, really. That's what emotions are, or they should be, as far as I'm concerned, is the soul connection. So the outcome is the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords, pages themselves can be messengers. So you have like this double sort of message coming through. Maybe you learn something. This is kind of like, it's kind of like a spying, though, like kind of like you're sussing things out from, and again, if you still are in the process of leaving a former relationship and you haven't actually done so yet, let's say you're in a marriage and maybe you suspect that your partner's cheating. And that was what this is all about, is that you had these feelings, and so that kind of left you cold, One thing, too, I want to say, too, is that this can also be excessive materialism. So maybe some of you are in a marriage, a loveless marriage, but it's financially secure, and that's what's making it hard for you to leave. And maybe you have decided that you're going to go through with a divorce, but you have to get proof of what's happening. And so the Page of Swords is you like kind of ferreting out the truth. But it's definitely something, either you receive a message or you get information that helps you to extricate yourself from a former situation. Or it could also be that you're, not necessarily sure about this new person, and maybe you're going to go on social media and try to find out about this person and see if they are all they're cracked up to be. And maybe you're going to do a little spying that way. I would say, Scorpio, that you do have to balance self-preservation with having an innocent heart and having the good regard for other people, where you do not see them as necessarily guilty of anything. Because I've said this many times in my YouTube videos, as well as private readings with Scorpio types, is that there tends to be that guardedness, which the Page of Swords really can exhibit, where the person is naturally suspicious. And as the law of attraction states, you create your reality. If you think that the world is just waiting to betray you yet again, then so it is. It probably will show up that way for you. Scorpio, I think, is one of those signs that you just cannot stand the idea of somebody getting something over on you, of somebody fooling you. That is one of the things that really pisses you off more than anything. Betrayal. Because if you give your heart to someone, it's total. And so you're not like lukewarm. You either really are into someone or you're not. So when you go in, you're expecting the same level of devotion. And when somebody dares to betray that trust, then you just are like beside yourself. But because you always have this kind of lurking suspicion about the intentions of other people, you tend to be rather reserved in giving all of yourself. And I feel that even in an indirect way, can create the very situation that you're trying to avoid. Because people sense if other people are withholding of themselves, if they're being too secretive, too protective. And so then they are not going to invest emotionally in the relationship either, because they're not going to trust you. They're going to think that you have something to hide. So just keep that in mind when you're navigating through relationships, because they are kind of treacherous for you, because you are so intense in how you love that, in a way we could say, yeah, you are risking possibly more than the average sign in a lot of ways, but you still have to have the faith in humanity that will, naturally attract you to a person who is worthy of your trust and your love. So in any case, Scorpio, I hope that you got something from this reading. If you would like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great August. Bye.